Alhamdulillah. So I guess we can officially start the session. Let's start with Al-Fatiha. Okay, so today's session is going to be sort of a free flow sharing session. So I'm sure you have certain things you want to know, certain questions you want to ask. Probably, Chris, we can start off with sharing a little bit about our own journeys.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we'll take it from there. And Chris is more interesting, so I'll pass the mic to him.
I'll say I think this is my last event here. I've been here since Saturday, done a number of events, alhamdulillah, here in Singapore. It's my last one, but I have a complaint. You know what my complaint is?
Yeah.
People in Southeast Asia are like too polite. They don't ask any difficult questions. They hardly raise their hand. I really have to kick people, like get them to ask their questions. So what I'd love it is if you guys send me off by just asking really good questions, really good comments. I want to make this fun for myself, inshallah, and fun for you guys. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. What can I say? I was born in KL. I think you knew that, I think, but it will surprise a lot of you. My father was working here, came from New Jersey to here. I was born. After a few years, though, we moved back to America, and I grew up in America. When I was 13, we moved from New Jersey to Massachusetts. In Massachusetts, my neighbor was this really messed up kid. His name was Mike Dan. He started doing drugs and drinking alcohol when he's 11 years old, which is, my daughter's like almost 11. I'm like, how did someone so young get into this? He did, though. And his life was just a total wreck. But then he became Muslim when he was 15. And his whole life changed. And that, you guys can bring him to Malaysia and he'll tell you his story. But it caught my attention. I started learning about Islam from him. I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. Anyone read that book here? Raise your hand if you read the autobiography of Malcolm X. Only 2 people? Wow. You guys got to read it. Great audiobook too. I know no one reads anymore, but it's a great audiobook, and you can watch a movie by Spike Lee at the very least. So I read that. I started studying Islam more, and then I ended up becoming Muslim when I was 16. Alhamdulillah. It was 3 months before the terrorist attacks of 9/11. So that was a really difficult thing to do, to try to understand as a new Muslim. But through the support of a lot of people and through traveling, I was able to really come to understand what Islam is really about and the beauty of Muslims. And what do I mean by traveling? In the first maybe 6 years or so of being Muslim, I went to, Egypt, Malaysia, the UAE. I studied Arabic in Morocco and Jordan. I lived in Turkey, and I got to make the Hajj. So it's an amazing experience, like within 6 years or so for a new Muslim. And I really fell in love with the Ummah. And I wanted to serve the Ummah. The problem was, I went to school for engineering, I graduated engineering, and I'm sitting in a cubicle working for Intel in Folsom, California. And I'm like, this just doesn't align. I feel like I have this very important journey I'm on, but I'm just sitting in a cubicle. And I made a pretty bold decision early on to leave corporate America. And I spent my 20s doing all sorts of stuff. So actually, how many people here are in their 20s? Are you kidding me? Are you 19? 17. Oh my God. MashaAllah. What are the child labor laws here? No, I'm just kidding. So I got great advice in my 20s. And I'll just share this with you for those in their 20s. I met a guy I wanted to be like. I was probably 21 or so. And he's very unconventional, but very successful in many layers of his life. Not just money. Don't think success is just having money. It's not. But this guy was successful with his family, his spirituality, a lot of layers. And so I asked him, what do I have to do to be like you? These are very popular videos now on TikTok and YouTube. They see some guy driving like a Maserati and they're like, whoa, what did you do, right?
Yeah.
And they're great. I love them. The answers you find are fantastic. So I asked this guy. So if you see someone you want to be like, ask them, how did they get there? So I asked him, and he gave me this advice. Spend your 20s learning as much as you can. And the challenge, the thing that most people will not do, and you actually don't even hear this very often, when you start getting good at something, quit. And start something brand new that you don't know what the heck you're doing, and it's really uncomfortable because growth happens outside your comfort zone. So I took that advice to heart. I left engineering. I became a teacher, a high school teacher, math teacher. And that was hard. That was really hard the first year. Then it got a little easier the second year. I was getting ready for third year. I realized I have to move on now because it's becoming too easy. And I started an Arabic nonprofit. Again, really hard. I didn't know what I was doing. And then we started to get some stability. And a friend in Detroit asked me to move to Detroit and help him start a film company. And I didn't know anything about film. I didn't really like Hollywood, but it felt like a great new challenge. I've never run a for-profit before. I was 25. I was single. So I just packed up my car, drove from Massachusetts to Michigan, and started a film company when I was 25. And that was a cool ride. Like, I mean, I'd fly to California once every couple months, rent a convertible, and I was like a producer and all that. And we had some really early success. And this was some other advice my mother gave me. So my mother, mashallah, she's a CEO and a founder, entrepreneur herself. She gave me the advice that any startup, I have to give it 3 years. 3 years before I really know if it's going to make it or not. So the first year of my film company, we were crushing it. To be honest, alhamdulillah, we had a film that went to the Sundance Film Festival called Bilal Stand. And we were going all around the country, all around the world, showing it and making money and hiring people. And I thought this was going to be my life forever. And then the next year, some things changed and it started going down. And the third year, this thing was like dead. But that was also the time I started LaunchGood. And the reason I started LaunchGood is that film we had made called Bilal Stand, we needed money for it. And so to finish off that film, we did a Kickstarter campaign. And I was the first Muslim to ever use Kickstarter. And I fell in love with Kickstarter and crowdfunding. I started helping all these other people. I thought it'd be so cool if we had a Muslim Kickstarter. And the funny thing, I wasn't even trying to be the one that started it. Really, to be honest, the first time, because everything in my life at that point, I was always helping my friends start their thing. I was helping my friend start his Arabic nonprofit. I was helping my friend start his film company. So I was looking like, who is my friend that's trying to start a crowdfunding platform? And you know what? I actually found him. I found this guy. He's a little bit older than me. I knew him. And he was thinking, I was like, bro, I'm ready to help you. I don't even care about equity. I didn't even think about equity. I just want to see the idea come to life. I just want to help you. And then he came back. He's like, yeah, actually, I did a business analysis of it. And I decided it's like way too high risk and way too low return on investment. And I'm not going to do it. And I was like, oh, man. So who's going to do it? And I realized that I was the only one in the mirror. And I decided to start. And again, I didn't know what I was doing. I never started a tech company. Even though I'm an engineer, it's a mechanical engineer. I build things. I didn't know how to program things. So I was going to have to hire developers. And where am I going to get sort of money and this and that? But any of you guys familiar with Paul Graham? Who's Paul Graham? Paul Graham.
Oh, Paul Graham, yeah.
Who is he? Yeah, the founder of Y Combinator. He's like the godfather, the guru of startup founders, right? So he's seen the founders of Airbnb, Reddit, Stripe, so many things. He said the most important quality of a successful founder is, anyone know the answer? I'm curious. Anyone know this one? Relentlessly resourceful. So he said the best founders, the common denominator is they're relentlessly resourceful. What does that mean? Translate that in common language. What does it mean to be relentlessly resourceful? I told you guys my last event, no, it's like polite, oh yes. Well, one of my employees, he said, oh, I learned servant leadership from Chris because he doesn't like take like a Mercedes Benz or something. I'm like, no, that's not servant leadership. You guys just have really like hierarchy, but I don't have hierarchy. I let tech lead. There's no formalities. Yeah.
Does it mean that you just figured it out?
You figure it out. You get what you want with what you've got. And if you see the best founders, they just find some way, despite all their limitations and everything going against them, to get what they want. And so I didn't know how to start a tech company, but I put myself out there, and I put myself at that time, every type of this meeting, to be honest, like these type of meetings, I go to everyone I could find. I talked to every founder I could talk to. I talked to, investors, whatever I could do just to start learning stuff. Go on YouTube, read books. It's like, okay, I'm going to figure out some way to get this thing to life. I actually got into something like a Y Combinator in Detroit. So Detroit, Michigan wanted to be like San Francisco. We're not. But, we tried. We had this little incubator for a few years. I was in it, alhamdulillah. I was lucky. I didn't get into their main program. Their main program, you had to give up equity. But they had like a nights program, so I could still work as a movie producer. And at night, I could go and work on this idea, and they had instructors and everything, but I didn't have to pay money. I didn't have to pay money, and I didn't have to give up equity. And at the end of it, I pitched my idea for LaunchGood, and nobody invested in it. And that's part of the story of LaunchGood, and maybe an unfair bias I have. I'm really actually not into investment. I'm like all for bootstrapping because I had to bootstrap LaunchGood. It's a very difficult, long road, but there's actually a lot I can say about LaunchGood. I feel like I'm talking too much, but eventually I'll just get, a lot of my trip here, I've been talking about the highlights. I want to give you guys some of the lowlights. Because I couldn't raise investment, but I wanted to build this thing, we had to find the basically cheapest developers I could find in the world to work on this. Anyone want to guess where they came from? Pakistan. Yes, they came from Pakistan. Got my Pakistani developers. They're like, yeah, we could build this 3 months. Anyone want to guess how long it really took? 18 months. So I'm not that patient. After we missed our first Ramadan, right? This is a Muslim crowdfunding platform. You got to have up a Ramadan. We missed our first Ramadan. That was like 6 months in. And I was like, this is not anywhere close to being done. I just taught myself WordPress. I made a WordPress site in one day. And it looked like crowdfunding. So it had a campaign and it had like the donate button. But when you clicked on the donate button, you know what would happen? Anyone going to guess what happened when you hit the donate button? What? That would have been good. So that's actually very close to the answer. Thank God, not that. I'm not going to do that. It would open up the real campaign on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. So I would actually set these campaigns up on other crowdfunding platforms, but then I would have it like almost as marketing site, you could say. And that was my first year of LaunchGood. And I charged people 5% consultant fee, and I would run their campaigns for them. And it gave me a chance to get more experience and build a brand up a little bit as the tech was developing, so that when we launched, we weren't going from zero. Might have been just one, but it was not zero at least. And eventually, I'll share one more low light. I have a lot of lowlights. So it's just every founder has too many lowlights. But we were almost ready. We're not quite ready. My friend, she's getting ready to launch the world's first hijabi workout DVD. So usually the female workout videos, they're all like dressed in model.
You gotta explain what's DVD to the
DVD. I know, yeah. Seriously, do you know what a DVD is?
Okay. Just joking.
Have you ever played a DVD? No, yeah. So it was the first like modest fashion workout DVD. And I was like, oh, this is exactly what I built LaunchGood for. Like, this is, be perfect campaign. You're my friend. Like, we can do this. But she had her partner, business partner from New York, who had no idea who I was like, heck no. We're not going to be his guinea pig. We're going to do this on Kickstarter. And so they went ahead and started doing Kickstarter. But for some unknown reason, the day before they were going to launch, Kickstarter rejected them. And they had all the marketing out already and flyers and everything. So they were like, they came back to me like, Chris, could you host it? And we weren't ready, but what's the answer when you're an entrepreneur? Yes, it's always yes. And what do you have to do? You have to be relentlessly resourceful. You figure it out, right? So it's like, yes, we can do it. We try to rush things, we get it live, and it seemed to be okay. Everything seemed to be okay. This was something called an all or nothing campaign. What's all or nothing?
All or nothing.
Yeah, if their goal is 15,000, what if they only raise 5,000? They get nothing. No one's credit cards are charged. So actually, it's only a hold on the credit card. There's no charge on the credit card unless they hit 15,000. Okay, so the campaign's going along, 5, 6, 7, 8. They get to the last day, they're around like, I think $11,000. And it's the last day, it's also the founder's birthday. So the donations are coming in fast. By noon, they hit their goal, alhamdulillah. Now the first issue happens. Everybody got double charged, okay? So if you pledged $100, now it would charge $200 to your credit card. And Zainab, the one from New York who didn't know me, and New Yorkers, I know Alexander is a very nice New Yorker, but New Yorkers are tough, okay? They're very tough people. Where are you from? Mashallah, Tampa's are very nice people. Mashallah. New Yorkers are tough. She calls, she's very upset. But I'm like, okay, don't worry, it's cool. It was pretty easy to refund. We just had to like manually go through and do a refund to every other donation. And as that's going on, the second issue happens. Zainab calls again. She's like, what's the F's wrong with your website? I'm like, what? And it's like, it's going backwards. And this is actually pretty impressive engineering. I don't know how they pulled it off. But for some reason, it hit 15,000, and the next donation was subtracted. So if it was let's say a $20 donation, it showed $14,980. In reality, it was $15,020. Like the transaction went through, but the counter was showing the wrong number. So what do you think the next person does? They donate $20. So now it's $14,960. So the next person, they only need $40. I'll give $40. And they're like, and we could manually go in there and fix it. Like we could correct it, but the next donation brought it down again. And so we're like, my co-founder, Amani Kelawi, and I are sitting there. She's doing all the refunds. I'm like trying to manually reset the counter every time. It kind of worked in their favor because people just kept donating, thinking they're just this short of their goal. They ended up, I think, with like $18,000. But it was crazy. And I'm like, wow, that's a really bad first campaign on LaunchGood. We had several more that had weird bugs like that, and I was ready to quit. Like honestly, 3 months into LaunchGood, I had destroyed my reputation. Like all my friends that I convinced to use LaunchGood were like, this guy's full of BS and he just keeps over-promising and under-delivering. And I was really ready to quit. And it was actually a Christian guy, one of my mentors, he's a Catholic, thank God, connected me with this American developer who took over and fixed everything on the website for me. And I don't want to say the rest is history. Every year there's those things that like almost killed us. But that's just a taste of some of the challenges we've had. It took us 5 years before we could pay ourselves as founders. So it was a very, very long journey. We were bootstrapping. Everyone was either working for free or for minimal pay. And I never felt comfortable paying myself when I have all these other people working for free or nearly free for me. Our first year revenue was $35,000. Second year was $90,000. Third year was $200,000. It just wasn't enough money to pay anybody other than the developers. But then, alhamdulillah, we got to over $500,000 and then to $1 million. And today we've really grown a lot. Thank God, alhamdulillah. We have over 100 people in the company. We pay people real salaries, including myself, alhamdulillah. And we're just approaching $1 billion lifetime raise through LaunchGood. So it used to be like 1 or 2
That's
million a
$1 billion,
year.
mashallah.
It's like maybe 150 million a year right now. A lot to do, but we got a great team. And Suleiman is here. Alhamdulillah. Alexander helps out. Miriam helps out. Well, not just helps out. Miriam's on. She's the staff. She does everything. That's Tahira, right? Tahira is here. Sorry, the niqabis, I'm not 100% sure always with Tahira. She works with us on some of our new projects. So I'm really blessed. We have such a diverse team of incredible people that work with us. But it's hard. It's really, really hard to build a company. And there's a saying which is very true. It's cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so we've only been able to go so far as LaunchGood because it's been a team effort. It's not me. Probably a lot of times it held us back. It's a team effort. But you don't always get to go as fast as you want to go. Anyway, I'll add in there, I'll just end by saying success is more than just money, more than just your business. Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy that I've been able to be married. To my wife, we've married over a decade now. We just had our 4th kid in the last year, alhamdulillah, so we have 4 children. And I think a lot of times with founders, we overlook the importance of that holistic success. You see a lot of founders with divorces or not even married, depression, all sorts of challenges. And they're real because being a founder is one of the most stressful things you can do. You got to be kind of crazy to be a founder. I didn't even know how difficult it would be going into this. You get back pain, like the founder back pain. You get the founder back pain before, the neck pain, and all sorts of stuff that you have to deal with. So you got to make sure you have good family, good friends, good spiritual support base, and inshallah, all of those will be part of your success.
Inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Right.
Go ahead.
How many founders are there here? Or budding founders? Founders or going to be founders soon? Yeah? Soon?
Learning, that you never failed. You're just a learning founder.
Yeah, okay, you've been a founder in the past, right? So I think seems like a majority here, entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs at heart, inshallah. All right, I'll tell a little bit about my story. Probably it'll be a bit shorter, because if I were to go into detail, it'll take a long time. I'll touch a bit on the initial part, the starting phase for myself. My journey leading up to Ethis and today Hasan.vc. And I'll touch also a little bit on the challenges that we've faced, right? Because success is always fun to talk about, and there's a lot of content out there about success. I think the failures part is very important, right? And as Muslims, we know that when bad things happen, when there's a tragedy that befalls you in your life, it's really up to you whether that tragedy is really a tragedy or is a blessing in your life, right? And that's why I want to share a little bit about the initial days at Ethis, alhamdulillah. So by way of quick background, I'm Singaporean, family's in Singapore. And my entire family, which is a large family, I have 6 siblings. And today, 18, my parents have 18 grandchildren, so it's a big family.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. All of us are educators, right? My dad's been teaching econs his whole life, economics. My mom used to teach math and science, and past 10 years, religion and Arabic. I don't speak Arabic, but yeah, she teaches Arabic.
She did though.
Yeah.
Are they Arab, like Arab?
Quranic Arabic.
Yeah. But ethnically, like, is it like Singaporean Malay, Singaporean Indian?
Ethnically, I guess my dad is sort of Persian, but Singaporeanized. We call him. Everybody in Singapore says he's Indian, so he's Indian now. And my mom actually is mixed Malay and Indian. Yeah, in Singapore, they call her Malay. Right, so here race and culture mix, right? So in Malaysia, I'm considered Malay. If I want to be Malay,
that's a good beard for a Malay, mashallah.
Yeah, my daughter is Malay on her birth certificate. Anyway, so yeah, educators, all of us educators. My 6 siblings are all educators. Grew up in a very education-focused household. When I was 18, the good thing or bad thing about being Singaporean is all males have to go to national service, right? So when I was 18, I was forced to go to national service, basically become an army man. I was very lucky. I was in the jungle for about 3 months, and at that time, I was very, very fit, about 20 kilograms ago. Uh, and so I was selected to be in the police force as an inspector, which is one of the best positions you can get in national service. Anyway, that allowed me space and time to explore other things. And that's when I started being an entrepreneur. When I was 18, I started my first business. At that time, I liked flashy cars. So I had an e-commerce platform doing car body kit modification stuff when I was 18, right? Now, fast forward, so I was an entrepreneur I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, which is 24 years, from 18 until today. And in the first half of it was really a lot of learnings, right? The second half, which is the last 12 years, I've been an entrepreneur in Islamic finance, right? So I'll jump to the part where I transitioned from entrepreneur doing whatever felt interesting and exciting and can make money to an entrepreneur with purpose, right? Which is an entrepreneur in Islamic finance. So what happened was I had moved to Indonesia because Singapore is very congested and very expensive. And I decided I'll go look for a bigger, more exciting market. So I just left and went to Indonesia, right? Over 6 years, my business there grew from strength to strength. Today I'll call it health tech or med tech business. Right? Back then, this jargon, these phrases were not known yet. And we were growing very well. I was making good money. I was young and basically chasing the world, right? The business grew to a point where I guess at its peak, which is about maybe 16 years ago. So at its peak, this business suddenly collapsed, right? So I went through a lot. I put everything I had into this business. It grew and it grew and it grew. And then suddenly, when it was right at the top, it was taken away. And it was some kind of internal sabotage. Right? My supplier basically tried to undercut me and work with my local partner, stuff like that. And eventually, when he saw that things were going south, he took all the money, everything we had, all our assets, and he disappeared. Right?
Wow.
So I was 26. I was 26 years old at that time, right? And one thing about being an entrepreneur is you tend to put everything into your startup, right? Which is great. Everything you have, your effort, your time, but you should also have some balance if you have a family, some savings, right? Some reserves.
When
you can.
You didn't
right?
have a family yet, though, right? You had?
I mean, I was married for a long time.
SubhanAllah, that's difficult.
Alhamdulillah, my wife has been very patient with me. You need a very patient wife when you're an entrepreneur.
Very patient.
Very patient. Right? They say you need to be crazy to be an entrepreneur. You need a crazier spouse to be with you, to go along for the journey. So yeah, basically what happened was the business collapsed. I lost everything because I had put everything into the business and more. I had, investments from family and friends and all that. And I had just raised some funds from my shareholders to buy new stock and whatnot. And everything was gone overnight, right? Now, when everything was lost, I moved back to Singapore. And I tried to pick up the pieces. And that was when my car was repossessed. Okay? Back then, I had a convertible. I think somehow we both liked convertibles in the past. So I had a sports car. Sports car in Singapore is never a good idea. Right? Singapore is incredibly expensive. So when the bank repossessed my car, you know what happens when your assets get repossessed? The bank that used to be your friend is now your enemy, right? Trying to kill you, right? Because that's the way it works. Right? Now you're a bad customer, they'll squeeze whatever they can for as long as they can from you. So I was paying like $1,000 a month. The debt was about $100 over $1,000. So I was paying $1,000 a month. But 800 of that 1,000 went to fees and penalties and costs.
Oh.
So only 200 was repayment, right? So how long would it take to clear $100,000 paying $200 a month? It'll take forever. And a lot of people fall into this debt trap, right? I was lucky, I was blessed, alhamdulillah. My dad, some family members pulled that money, cleared the
Wow.
bank. If not, I'll still be stuck today probably, right?
Wow.
So they cleared the debt. They gave me a Cardul Hasan, right, which is a no cost, no interest loan to clear the bank. And then I paid them back over 2-3 years. Okay, alhamdulillah. Now, when that happened, alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me with being a very calm person. I don't get upset. I don't get stressed much. I guess that comes with being an entrepreneur, or you have to be that way as an entrepreneur. So I was very calm. People thought there was something wrong with me because I wasn't upset. By the time it's taken away from me. And then the blessing became apparent, right? So as I was trying to understand why these things were happening, or what I can do about this scenario, a friend introduced me to Islamic finance, right? And before that, I had no idea there was such a thing as Islamic finance. I think maybe some of us grew up in that environment. In Singapore, now it's okay, there's some awareness, but at that time, nobody knew about Islamic finance. Right? Malaysia was developed, Singapore, there was nothing. So when I found Islamic finance and I started reading up and understanding it, I was blown away. I was literally mind blown. I was like, this is the solution. This is the way it should be, and the fairness and justice and beauty of Islamic finance just struck me at that time, because I was a victim of the modern financial system, and I saw how I was lucky that I could overcome it, but a lot of people fall into that trap. A lot of people. When I was in the police force, which is in Singapore high paying, Malaysia is a bit low paying. Singapore, they pay you a lot so you don't get corrupted, right? The biggest problem was that these are policemen, disciplined people having good income every month. A large portion, I think about 20-30%, were indebted to their credit cards. So I found Islamic finance, and I told myself, this is a calling, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me whatever skills, whatever resources I have, and I decided then, 15 years ago, that I'll do everything I can to spread Islamic finance. Initially, it was just to spread Islamic finance in Singapore, but one thing led to another, and it became a whole other different animal. Alhamdulillah. So that's the starting story. Crowdfunding. Both of us started different types of crowdfunding. We met in 2014.
Yeah, maybe GIS.
Yeah, I think so.
GIS.
When did LaunchGood start?
2013.
Right. So LaunchGood started 2013. Ethis started late 2013, and 2014 we met. I think there were a few of us that came together, and we started an alliance.
Yeah.
A founders group.
Yeah,
Matthew, Rafi, and all that.
Rafi, yeah.
Ken. And so alhamdulillah, that's the origin story for Ethis. And when I wanted to start Ethis, I wanted to do crowdfunding basically, because we had a community. Over time, we had a community that grew around us. So this community element is very important. Before Ethis, I started Amanah Asset Management with a friend, a lawyer friend. And we just wanted to spread and grow Islamic finance in Singapore. And our activities, alhamdulillah, although that company didn't work out, it helped me to build my network in Islamic finance, especially in Malaysia. I was the only Singaporean frequently going to meet the Islamic finance people here, trying to bring them to Singapore at that time, right? And that's how I got to know various different leaders in Malaysia. And crowdfunding didn't exist at that time. Crowd investment, right? It didn't exist. We wanted to launch a platform because the demand was there, but there were no products. Muslims wanted to invest halal in Singapore. We have cash. Alhamdulillah, Singapore, there's extra money, right? People there high income. But there was no halal investments, So in the end, we decided we'll create our own halal investment platform, which is crowd investment platform, but there were no licenses, right? Anyway, that's how we started. I just want to share also some of the mistakes that we made, right? Which on hindsight may not be mistakes after all, but in terms of business trajectory, startups, it's like that, right? Hopefully it's not like that, it's like that. But it basically goes up and down. So for Ethis, when we started, it grew organically very fast. Before the pandemic, things were really good and very exciting, right? And we were also making money. Just to give you an idea of the things we tried to do before the pandemic, and then everything changed during the pandemic. We had a license in Malaysia for lending-based crowdfunding, which didn't work out for various reasons. We had approval in Brunei to launch investment crowdfunding, which didn't work out. We had two licenses, one after another in Dubai for crowd investment also didn't work out. And we had an Indonesian platform that did not yet have a license but was very actively doing business. Right? And there were a few others that I won't mention. South Africa, we even launched in South Africa. We had a successful campaign, and the regulators told us to stop because the regulations were not ready. Yeah. So if there are any fintech entrepreneurs here or those interested in fintech, we really underestimate this licensing regulatory stuff. It's a lot of effort, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time. I think time is the biggest challenge that we face as entrepreneurs, right? So before pandemic, we were doing well. We had 100, in terms of headcount people, we had 130 people spread out throughout the world. Pandemic came, and you can't do crowd investment during pandemic, right? You don't know which projects are going to work, which companies are going to survive. Investors are scared. Nobody is transacting. So we had a period of 8 months of no revenue. And just before that, we had 130 people, right? Because we were growing and we had cash flow. We had some big investors coming in. Pandemic came, everything stopped. Investors cancelled. We had to reduce the team to 10 full-timers and 20 part-timers. Right? Imagine that. From 130, we had to go down to 30 people. Yeah, mostly part-timers. But alhamdulillah, some of those people are still with us. Mufti Yusof is still collaborating with us as our Sharia advisor. But it's a tough period. But alhamdulillah, since then some things have turned the corner, right? Certain parts of our business doing well. So we consider ourselves a venture builder. Today, what we are today, in case you're not aware, is we have some local platforms that are run by venture partners. Right? So we have in Indonesia, and also in Turkey. We just got our license there. Alhamdulillah, took about 3 years. Hopefully launching next month. Right? That's the first crowd investment debt-based platform in Turkey, inshallah. And it's also halal or Islamic, but we are the first in general, Islamic or not. Yeah, very good partner there, Brother Khalid Fuad. So my time now is focused on Hasan.vc, right, and helping and working together with the different parts of the business. Hasan.vc is actually an evolution of our angel group. Chris talked about bootstrapping at that time, because I always believe business fundamentals must be there, right? You must make money, right? That's the point of a business. There's a point in terms of the commercial side. Of course, the point is to create something people as practicing Muslims or people who want to do good, to create a vehicle to bring benefit to society, right? And even to pass on or leave behind a legacy, right? But yeah, it was quite a journey. So right now, along the way, we did try to raise funds from VCs and institutions, right? And I'm happy to share that we did not get any money from any of them. But alhamdulillah, we survived 12 years, getting multiple licenses and launching new stuff around the world with investments only from angel investors. I mean, a few families, but mostly angel investors, right? And my mindset at that time was, you got to raise to reach another level. You got to raise to reach another level, right? Today, that mindset in general may not work in most cases, right? It's not necessarily the best way to build a startup, in my view. So alhamdulillah, we had that group of angels, and these angels came from everywhere. We just attracted, alhamdulillah, people who were aligned with the mission. And one thing led to another. We started investing in other startups, right? And we had an equity crowdfunding platform here that was running for a while. Brother Das was our CEO at that time. We did some good things as well. And eventually, 3 years ago, I don't know whether the Gobi guys know this, we wanted to do VC, I think 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I can't remember. We actually formed a joint venture with Gobi. You can Google it, the articles are there. But we never actually launched the fund, right? So we did all the prep work and everything. But the investors that we had, our investors, Gobi had the track record, we had the investor. The investor wanted us to move to Saudi, and I think Gobi wasn't too keen on the idea, right? So we had to drop it. And 1 year later, Hasan.vc was born, right? Instead of going to big investors, typically that's what VC funds do, we went to our own community. We went back to our angel investors, and our existing shareholders seeded the fund. Right? And Alhamdulillah, more and more people came on board and invested in the fund. Today, we have 25 startups in our portfolio, and we're halfway through the investment cycle for the first fund. Yeah, so I think that's, in a nutshell, a little bit about about the journey. Okay.
Are you finding your investors are coming from the Muslim world or the non-Muslim world or both?
Yeah, very interesting question. I know some of you are also looking for funds to fundraise.
In my mind.
Thank you. Interestingly, the investors that we have is quite spread out. It's a private angel group, right? You got to join, then you can invest in the fund if you like, if you want to. So the biggest source of investors are actually people from Singapore, right? Secondly, close behind is from Canada.
Canada.
Yeah, Canadian Muslims, mostly Muslims. I think there's 1 or 2 non-Muslims. Currently, there are 60 investors. So Singapore is the first. Second is Canada, right? I think there are a lot of people there who understand tech, understand startups, and they are looking to give back to the ummah. And someone recommended them to us, and they joined us, and it just grew and spread that way, right? So Singapore, Canada, Malaysia, I think it's Saudi, Qatar. So it's very spread out. Very interesting, alhamdulillah. Yeah. So that's a little bit about our journeys. Of course, there's a lot more that happened in Chris's, in LaunchGood's history and Ethis history.